Hello. It's actually quite warm, so I'm not actually going to wear this. Apologize. Welcome to Knitwhim Diaries episode, and you can find me on YouTube by searching Knitwhim or my blog arcaneknits.blogspot.com. Today is Sunday, the 23rd of March, and hi, how are you? It's been a while since my last episode. I try to record bi-weekly, sometimes weekly if I'm feeling crazy, but you know, life is life and this is a hobby. I'm not a video blogger, I do this for fun, and I always enjoy videos. If I look a little harassed to you, it is because I am having the month of hell. Today is Sunday, March 23rd. It is 4:46 and this is take 2. If this doesn't work, video jacked up. Okay, I've already recorded this whole session and it did that thing that my very first episode 0 did, where it just like cut random seconds out of my video, so I'd be talking something completely different and whole bits of my conversation just vanished into thin air, and I have no idea why it did that then, and I have no idea why it did that now. My theory was that I double super checked and it says that it's set to fall asleep never. So, oh my god, nothing works for me. Disaster. They come out. So, actually there's a pretty good reason why I haven't been podcasting lately. I've been having the month from hell. I started the month off by hitting a parked car. It happens. Then not very much, just a small piece. Enough to get some of the nail though. It's been 2 weeks since I cut the piece off. When it first happened, it was super painful, and the doctor was telling me that I probably wouldn't be able to knit for a few weeks. I really lied, I was knitting within a day and a half. But it's slow going. That I'm experimenting with making the bandage thinner and thinner so it's not as bulky. The week after I hurt my finger, the car died while I was driving it. That was, I mean, completely dead. My hazard lights wouldn't even turn on. I was so sure a car was going to run into me. Crazy. Making my life a living hell and making me do, I feel like I'm in grade school and these people are treating me like a child, and it's just stupid, insignificant things, and I don't understand why they're doing this to me. And it's that we're going to talk about knitting. I actually finally have a finished object. It's been almost a week since I finished something. I'm sorry. But yes, I have a finished object. New, and a lot of dyeing. So most of this episode is going to be about dyeing. Oh, by the way, one really good thing did happen to me. Good, but the most notable, last weekend, my family came to visit. I love my family so much here when they came for my wedding. So my parents came and my 3 young siblings came with them, the oldest of 7. They arrived at around 3 p.m. on Friday, and then they left Monday morning at 5 in the morning. So it was a short visit, but it was really awesome. I'm working on turning my into a craft room. So my dad spent most of the weekend, he hung up all these shelves in my garage. He built me this table, which I'm now using as my dye station. Amanda and I are using these really small crock pots to learn how to, and then that's some of the dye we use, and I'll talk about more. But yeah, so he came up and built a bunch of stuff and cooked an amazing lamb for dinner, and my mom completely reorganized my pantry, and we bought a liquor cabinet because our liquor collection is starting to grow, and it was just all like sprawling over tacky. Like, wow, you have a hole. It's for parties, we don't drink all that by ourselves. So yeah, that was fun. And then on Friday, Amanda came over and we spent 6 hours dyeing. So, yay! Finished object is the Ectus shawl by Boo Knits, and I knit this, I have no idea what, but it's the Dream in Color lace. It has all of my favorite things about lace. It's pretty and airy, it's got holes, it's got lots of stock in it. I always had to check to make sure it's not garter. The pattern is kind of not too mindless, but you can still watch TV and hold a conversation while knitting this at the same time. Props to my husband. It's got beads as an option, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to add them, and so I asked my husband, and he was like, definitely it needs beads. So I had white beads that I have already used previously on a, I don't know if you can see that in this light. And they're just at the very tip. They're not, I don't know, I think it makes it look elegant. You're not gonna be able to see it. Sorry. Too much light. Anyway, I really love this shawl, and I stood up early, modeled it. I'm not sure, but whatever, you'll see it. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. I knit a lot of shawlettes because they're too small to cover my shoulders, but having a few shawls that actually cover your whole shoulder, those are nice too. In fact, those are like usually my favorite to wear. But I usually don't like the time commitment it takes to actually make them. So I cast that off, but I cast on more lace, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of this pattern. Something, and here's the name, and here's the picture. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry, and I'm casting it on using the penguin soup yarn that I got a while ago. I've been saving it up, and this was Smog colorway from the Hobbit themed, and there's a picture on Ravelry if you're interested. Sorry, I tried to save it. But I've already started knitting it up, and that's my knitting table, and it's forming this really awesome shape already. The colors are knitting. You can't see it in the camera at all, but it's got so much glitter in it, and it's, but not so subtle that you would miss it. You know what I mean? It's obvious there's glitter in there, and it makes me smile. And there are 4 of these little wedge sections. I like it, it's cool. And the yarn, the colorway is called Smog, and it came with this little dragon stitch marker. I don't know if it'll focus. I need a camera, it's on my list. So that's cool. I did last the eyelet, and I was like drunk and knitting with my husband and cuddling and all that stuff, and the tighter, it's the same needle size. It's the same needle size, and yet there's such a gauge from the overnight. I don't think you can see. This is why even with a gauge swatch, it might not really help you predict what your stuff is. Sometimes I don't even know what the point is, because stuff like that happens to me. And I say that because I didn't bring it, it's blocking, but I did knit the swatch out of this yarn for my sweater. And I knit it on size 7s, and it was half a stitch too many, and then because I'm retarded, I wanted 4 stitches to 1 inch. Because I'm retarded, I went down to size 6, and suddenly I had 5.5 stitches per inch, and I'm like, wait, what? And I got like 7.25 stitches. No, I got 4 to 2 inches. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm saying. When I blocked it, the size 7s and the size 8s both had 8 stitches to 2 inches. Almost a 1/4 of a stitch. I don't know which size. I'll probably go with the 7s. The other thing is that even on size 7 knit up, that swatch kind of had a little, it wasn't too holy, but it's like, you know, you want it to be dense enough that you can't see your skin through it. And 4 stitches to 1 inch is the but fitting sweater, otherwise I'm gonna have to wear tank top under it. I don't know. I'm gonna do what the pattern says, but I feel really uneasy with that. So finished object, new object, work in progress. Finished object for spinning. New spindle and a D-stash a few weeks back, a Spanish Peacock Russian spindle. And I just had the lady who gave it to me sent me 2 little bits of fiber, one red and one purple, and then I had this little bit of BFL left over, and so I spun it up all together. You can't really see purple and red is underneath. So this is just a sample I did to on the Russian, because we were not friends when we first met. It's significantly bigger than the hip string spindle that I'm used to spinning on, bulkier. It was I couldn't a couple of seconds, and you know, when I was hip string, it was spinning. So I found out what I was doing wrong. Oh, and I started spinning something else. No, it's like being attacked by. I have all this like loop. A second. So when I was spinning on the hip string is smaller than this. The hip string is like this tall, and I would like spinning sideways, and I could like spin the hip string spindle like on its side, and it would still spin super fast. And like even like this is a bad angle to spin the spindle. It's too tall. You really need to have it in your lap and to be sitting up straight in order for it to spin, and then it'll spin super fast. And it spins fast, but you really have, like, it has a sweet spot. And this is like, even that's better than I was getting it when I first got it, but it'll spin even faster than longer if you've got it at the right below you. It can't be at eye level. So that's good. And this is, I bought for Amanda, and she sent me a sample of one Rolag in the Valentine colorway, which I'm now spinning. This is my first time spinning a Rolag, and I really love it. I cannot wait to get my hands on more Rolags, and these are super soft. I'm enjoying the colors. Most of it is black, but there are like bits of like sparkles or jewels and a black gossamer. And I'm not spinning this super evenly because I'm still learning to use this particular spindle, and if I had more of these, I probably would have spun my wheel, because that would be guaranteed consistent. The consistency is like consistently if you were spinning on something you were comfortable with. But it's so fun to spin that I'm not even sad like sampling it on this spindle. I can't wait to be good at this spindle. I'm trying to wait until April. I have a couple of bats to spin along, and I'm kind of shy, so I'm afraid to just like jump in the middle of a month. I need to start on the first page, so hopefully I can wait. Well, I do have a yarn shine card, which is amazingly gorgeous and pretty. You should check her out. Okay, so my knitting box. I love this box, and I'm not sure how transportable it is for normal people, but I use this around my house all the time, and I also take it to Amanda's house. It's kind of like a project bag, except I can put my spindle in here, and so it's kind of big. This is, one of those boxed shirt and tie sets that I got from my husband, and I just saved the box. I've got so much stuff in here, but I was afraid to put my spindle in a project break. And I can keep so much stuff in here. Then I have this Notions tin. This is a gift card holder that I bought at Michael's craft store, but I'm using it to store my stitch holes and scissors that I was given to cut my bandaging my finger by myself. But I have 2, so one of them is now the Eat Sleep Knit tape measure I got from reaching my first mile year. That's not something to be proud of. But yeah, it holds so much lace. You have to have a crochet hook. This is the 0.75 millimeter. Best thing ever for doing beaded lace with. So yeah, I love this, and I keep my pattern in it, and all my stuff is right there. It's nice. I like it. So let's see, what else? This is gonna be a short episode. Okay, so on Friday, Amanda came over and we started doing some attempt dyeing. I don't know if I have the first attempt that we did I dyed a bunch of fiber purple, and I was trying to get different shades of purple, and that didn't really work out the way I wanted. They all ended up being mostly the same color, if that was darker. And so this time around, I wanted to experiment with changing the color value by mixing colors together. So I started out doing a ½ ounce at a time. So this is the green, just plain by super light, either because I didn't put enough dye in it or I didn't leave it in long enough. It was supposed to be darker, but ½ ounce of green. And I love this color so much, I am definitely going to dye more of this later than just ½ ounce. And this is got from Rinderwood's farm, I think that's right. And combine the green dye and the blue dye together in the pot to get different shades. And so I did ounce this teal, which I think is really pretty, and I don't really think the color is. Come here, light. Can you see that? And then I added some black to it, and in light, there's a shade difference. It's not too much, you can't really see it on the camera. But so I have 2 ounces of this, and then this is an ounce that I dyed, and that was sort of together. And I was trying to like keep careful notes in my notebook about how much of each I did. And this is how we keep track of how. This is a quart. I'm like trying to remember what my measurements are. This is a quart. It's 4 of dye, and so I would write, you know, I use 2 cups of blue mixed together in my crock pot. But then after the green, I stopped counting because it started getting super crazy. The next color, and they're labeled, so we know how much is the last of my domestic wool. Then after that, I started dyeing the Polworth. I bought a pound of Polworth from the woolery, and so soft like butter. It reminds me, I haven't spun any of it yet, but just touching it, it reminds me, you know, tinsel blend that I spun once. So it's like super soft. It's just, I love it. So the first color I did was this deep red, and Amanda had done a red experiment where she'd mix like red and dark reds, and it was gorgeous. And so I did this kind of damp, so I don't touch it too much. I mixed 2 different shades of red plus purple and black to get this color, and I'm super happy with it. This is this color. Because I have a plan for my spinning, different colors, and I'm going to practice spinning. Because I have this theory that I prefer to spin solid colors because I prefer to knit. Most hand-spun variegated stuff doesn't turn out looking that pretty, in my opinion. And I would like to spin and knit my own color work. So I'm doing small amounts, so then if I need to, I can spin solid stripes. So this was one color. And the next color, I like to do a yellow, but I don't like just straight pale. So I did yellow, but then I added some orange to it. And I did 4 ounces of this, but this is still super damp, so I only brought up an ounce. The color's not really showing. It's sort of like pumpkin blossom. That's the color. It's like yellow, but sort of orange. And this came out kind of kettle dyed. There's a bit of orangish, and then over here it's like pure yellow with no. The smaller the pot, more fiber you put in there, the less consistent the color is. Or I should say, the more open space there is around what you're dyeing, the color is going to be. So I shoved all 4 ounces in there, and it was like, it almost didn't all fit. And so there's not enough room for it all to absorb the dye equally. It's like squished in on itself, and from the dye don't get any initially, and so they suck it up. They get less of it. And I think the yellow takes longer to go, and so all the orange just went, and then whatever was left white got dyed yellow. So that was really cool. I have, again, completely dependent on my ability to spin thin. I want to spin this fingering weight and knit a shawl out of it. That's my life. And do what I want. That's what I want this to be. I did one more color. Okay, so Amanda will probably show you what she did on her blog. She has the BFL got from Gail's Art, and she's been dyeing solid colors over it, and because the BFL is like dark, like grays and dark browns, when you dye it, the different color natural wools soak the color differently, and so she did that to this like coral blue, like teal color, and she created the dye, so she had enough dye in there to dye a lot of fiber, but she only actually dyed 4 ounces, so it didn't, there was no way it could all exhaust, and so when she took her fiber, still loads of dye left, so I put in 2 gorgeous color. Of course, after I did this, and I love this color, and it's like so shiny. This is my first time recording in the garage, but yeah, I love this color so much. I cannot think this is felted at all, but it's hard to tell because it's super fuzzy on top from me touching it, but it's not felted. The time we dyed, I was complaining felted or overcooked, but on second thought, that wool was kind of rough to begin with, and it's not significantly rougher, just a little bit, and the feltiness is only on the outer surface. Like if you peel that part off, it's still soft on the inside, so softer. Never buy fiber that was that bad, because if you're know better, but it's not horrible. I'll be able to spin it, and the yarn will be knittable, and it'll be fine. However, this is the same fiber, and this is so much. What happened is, the first time we were pre-soaking the fiber and just letting it completely just to help it absorb the dye evenly, and the water we were soaking it in was kind of cold in comparison to the water in the crock pot, which was already hot, because the crock pots can't heat it up to the temperature we need. So it just does, it gets to 140 and then it stops, and it doesn't go any higher than that. So if you're a spinner and you've ever spun before, a lot of times when you spin singles, you want to intentionally that it doesn't unravel, and that you shock it from cold to hot water, and that causes felting. So we were thinking what happened, and it didn't have anything to do with being in the pot or stirring or anything. So we just didn't do that step. I didn't soak it at all, and it just went straight dry into the crock pot. It was fine. It's not felted at all. It's perfect. I can't wait to spin this. The only thing is with the blue, it might have to be reset, because it get to fully exhaust because there's too much dye in it, and so it's still got dye on the fiber. So I'm gonna have to rinse it with that method. But the rest is fine. But every time I touch that green, man, it comes off on my hands. So we'll have to see what happens. Not this green, but the teal. We'll have to see what happens with that. But otherwise, I'm really happy with how we've been doing so far with dyeing. 8 ounces left in here, so it's going to be interesting to see what colors I mess with next time. It's really going to be not to just dye it all blue. I knit way too much blue for things. And that's about it. I don't really have anything else to talk about. Eat Sleep Knit is still doing their yarnathon, their team yarnathon, Monkey. I'm trying to finish my new to you challenge. It's due by this month. I'm doing a really small project. It's a crochet butterfly. It's only going to be like this big, maybe crochet butterfly and lace weight. It's really thought intensive. Like I'm new to crochet. I have to keep looking up the stitches, and you can't just memorize it and go and do something else. And I can't do it when my husband is home, because it's like trying to crochet with a child in your lap. And sorry, that was probably inappropriate. I lose my count, so I hope I finish in time. I hope. But I'm really excited now that I'm done with this shawl. A lot more plans for spinning, I can't spin with this finger. Even the bandage just gets in the way. I was trying to spindle spin with my other finger, and it was annoying. My bandage off when I'm spinning, because I don't use the hurt part of my finger isn't touching the wood, so it's not painful, but it's just the bandage is awful. And I'm probably gonna try to spin on my wheel next, but I'm afraid that the fiber, like I use this to pinch and draft, and I'm afraid that the fiber might scrape over. So I don't want to get like flecks of wool stuck in my scab. We'll see. I miss my wheel. I really do. What else? I'm gonna recast on the Seedling Dream hat, hopefully soon. Oh, I just remembered something. I'll be right back. This is why I do recasts, because that way I can't forget stuff. I actually won yarn last week, the same day that my car broke down. I won yarn, and I'm super excited, and I think I'm going to cast on some socks with string, which is where I got my other spinning wheel, the who won. She is amazing. This is tonal coral, and it's 430 yards, and it is gorgeous. It's super soft. The quality that I most like in yarn is that it's not super large, but it's also like it's a little squishy. Not too squishy because can you see that? I don't know if you can see. And I love the colors. So I got this deep, like, there's like the pink orange, and then like, spots it for a long time. But you know, there's a lot of patterns on Ravelry, so I haven't picked a pattern out yet. I think all I know for sure is that I think I want to do toe up. Thank you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Rolls and cotton, and she started pretty colors. And recently, I've seen some cotton rolags, and I might message her soon and ask her to make like some purple cotton rolags, because that's what I would like. And then now she's dyeing regular spinning, like wool spinning, and then her next thing is, those are really pretty. Other than the tonal I've seen, as there's this beautiful purple, a really nice green, and then the blue is, I think that one's everyone's favorite. It's gorgeous. So yeah, everything I have for today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Bye. One more thing, I completely forgot. What do you think of music in my opening? I'm going to try to get it in my opening. It was composed by my brother, Nicholas, and he said that I could use it. So thank you, Nicholas. And I'll try to post a link to his page, show notes. For real this time. Thanks, Nicholas.